Hello, everybody. My name is Leslie Ann Forbes, and I welcome you to the Plain Talk No Manners podcast. I am so grateful and elated to be here and to have my first guest here, my lovely friend, and I use that word very mindfully, Sophia Bishop. Sophia and I met through divine intervention, I'm going to call it. I went to a Caravana Fete. For those of you who knows about Caravana Fetes, yes, I went to a Caravana Fete, and I wasn't even actually not wanting to go, but I really wasn't in the vibe to go originally when it was brought to me to go, because it was an all-inclusive fete, which includes alcohol. And at this chapter of my life, I am not drinking. So initially, I didn't really want to go to the fete, but it was one of my very good friends. It was her birthday, and she wanted me to come along regardless, so I went. And as soon as I walked in, it was, filled with different pavilions and different stations of different people offering food and what have you. But the first station I went to was Sophia's, because she was I heard her speaking to somebody and explaining about a lovely beverage that she had that included hibiscus tea. And I am big on hibiscus, especially at this stage of my life. I love the hibiscus tea. I just, the flower, everything about it. So my spirit gravitated to her, and we just naturally connected. We hugged, we embraced each other. And I wasn't even at the full place of manifesting my podcast, but I told her I'm doing a podcast. I hadn't put everything together yet, but I knew it was happening. And I was trusting God, and I said, you are going to be the first guest on my podcast. And we are here. So God is good. It's all manifesting through the will of spirit and through truth. And I'm so excited and grateful to introduce Sophia Bishop.
Well, thank you so very much. It is my privilege and honor to be here. And when we met, and it's a very similar situation for me because I wasn't even going to be there. I don't usually go in those spaces. I'll do trade shows, but I wouldn't be at an event in that way. And the organizer said, I really think you should come. I think it would be good, and just try it to see. And when we met, and it was instant, right? We talk about the spirit and aura and things around us, but we got right into the conversation. We actually have a picture, because my husband took a picture of when we met, and we hugged for the first time.
Exactly.
So, but and then we just got to talking.
That's right.
Right, and that was the connection, just talking,
was,
real talk. And when
was.
you talked about the name for your podcast, it's like authenticity. We spoke about that, right?
Authentic.
Being honest and being willing to go there.
That's right.
With conversations, being willing to go there. And I spoke about, well, that's what the beverage is. So hibiscus, which speaks to you, yes, because it's natural with all the goodness, great for people with high blood pressure, etc. So we talked about that. And then it's good for the body. But then when we got talking about why it's called talk, and you pour and you see your message, and to be able to go there and have those conversations, because for whatever the reasons, they're just conversations we're not willing to, able to, wanting to have, including the conversations with ourselves, right?
Very true. Very
that we
true.
need to just
it's so resonating.
Say it and own it.
That's
so
right.
congratulations on this. Love the name.
Thank you.
I mean, love and your whole, where that comes from. I love that. And with your mom, because we spoke about my grandma, your mom, my mama, my grandmother, who inspired and continues to inspire everything that I do, although she's been gone for decades, but she's with me. She's never, ever really
as my mama is with
gone,
me. You're so right. You're so right.
So here we are.
I'm so grateful. So grateful.
Congrats.
I think my mic went down a little far.
I'm going to fix your mic.
I was like,
it's one drink. Where are we going?
I didn't want to say. I was like, I think my mic is down
it's
there.
One drink to places. It's like, what?
We haven't even poured yet, kind of thing. I tell you. Nice spit.
I have to say, I love how you do this. I love how you roll with things. So this is happening, and you're just like, okay, so it's going there. I'm noticing happen, but you're on point. You're I'm up here being the professional. I am just nothing to see here. I'm just going to keep talking.
That's why I was like, okay. So I'm just going to keep going.
I love it.
I noticed, because I have it tilted this way a bit, just because when you turn that way, it's good. You're projecting fine anyhow.
Okay.
Just be careful that you don't touch it with your shirt.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think you just rub once or twice, because it's so sensitive that you'll hear.
Oh, I understand. And my
But
bracelets?
No, your bracelets
Oh,
are
okay.
fine. Your bracelets are fine. I have all kind of bracelets. Too.
Yeah.
I usually take it off when I'm in here so people don't.
Yes.
Rattling.
Yes.
But you're fine.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay.
You're perfect. You're perfect. Okay, ladies. So you could keep going.
Okay.
But I wouldn't mind changing the cameras. This is just for when you're pouring. So when you're done pouring, just
Okay.
take a break,
Okay.
and then I'll give you both each your own
Okay,
camera.
and I need
Okay.
to kind of reach.
Yes, I want them to hear more about what you do, Sophia, and then we're going to go into the
So-
pouring, and then I'm going to just
Okay.
explain a little bit about why I named it Plain Talk No Manners. Okay. So, as Sophia was saying earlier, the name of the podcast, Plain Talk No Manners, really came from my mother. And she was the one that always used it metaphorically. We talk in plain talk, no manners. She would even do it with her girlfriends to talk about conversations that, might be considered a little bit spicy, or, to open up the space
Yes.
for an open, candid
Conversation.
conversation. And I really think that is something that our community and it's not even specifically about our culture as West Indians. I think all cultures and all people, we need to start having more candid and open conversations. And that was really the drive of me creating this space, so I could bring people on to share their stories, to talk with grace, and to feel absolutely safe in doing that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And also respecting the perspective of another soul. It might not align with me, but if that is your story and that's what works for you, or that's what you've experienced, you have the right to share it, because I believe everybody's voice matters. And that's something that I have grown into. Even though I'm a professional voiceover artist and everybody compliments, you have this great, vibrant voice, I never used my voice to my fullest capacity. And when we talk about that self-talk and that self enrichment and empowerment, I've gotten so many lessons through the universe and through my connection with Source and God to know that my voice matters and that I have the right to amplify it and to use it in a way to help bring the voice of other people out, and help them to also be recognized and seen. So I just think that the Talk Beverage is such a great conversational piece. I really do, Sophia. I think it's very innovative. And I really believe that it will hopefully start to bring healing into this world and into circles, into families, into relationships, even with your children, to have those type of conversations, and understand their perspective. So, Sophia, I want you to share with everybody what it is that you do professionally, because that was what even gravitated me to you even more, and how I feel that she's become a friend, or you have become a friend, because people that are in my life that bring value to my life, and even though it's just short, we haven't known each other that long, but I feel we're going to know each other for a very long time. I just feel you're so phenomenal. So I'm going to stop, and I'd like you to share a little bit more about what you do.
Thank you.
Yes.
And here's the thing with labels and titles, and trying to find the right words that will encapsulate what I feel I do and what I'm about, and to do it in sound bites, the society that we live in, right? And coming up with a title, I think what would best describe it would be a mental wellness peak performance coach.
I love that.
So I focus in on self-mastery first and foremost.
Oh, Sophia.
Right? Self-mastery, because I think it's important for us to understand self, for us to know who we are, why we are, and what we are about. And that's a lifelong journey. I don't feel that you ever get there,
100.
but it's about being committed to that. So in what I do, I find ways to help people understand themselves, who they are, master themselves, and how they show up in this world, in their personal lives, in their professional lives. And it's in providing the tools for you to do that. So I actually do have my book that's coming out in January, and it's called Succeed at Self-Mastery. And the book is new, but the practices, the 7 pillars, we've been using for a very, very long time in my practice. And I actually brought something here for you as well that I would like
I'm so excited. She brought me a gift
to look at, because it will, I
Sophia.
think, speak to it. And this is yours. I would like to just say congratulations.
Thank you.
On what it is that you're doing. Having the courage to step out into being you and to sharing your gifts. And I know that it's going to be a phenomenal journey for you and for those who are going to be receiving what you're bringing for them, both through your own words and the words of others that you're going to be facilitating. So I know that you are very much about journaling and self-awareness.
Yes, I am.
And so I was thinking, do I give the journal or do I give you the larger piece, which this is the notebook size, and so you can open it.
So lovely.
I'm giving you the notebook size because
Sophia.
it will encapsulate everything, the journey where you get to write everything. So it's just more space. So however you choose to use it, if you're going to reflect.
And look at this beautiful.
However you're doing it. And
I love it.
TIFIDIN piece, which is my company name.
Okay.
Right. So think it, feel it, do it now. Right. It starts
feel
with
it, do it now.
Think it, feel it, do it now.
Think
it, feel it, do it now. Right.
Think it, feel it, do it now.
Right. See, this is what I mean.
I
You
love
got
it.
But that is it.
Oh,
right?
Sophia.
And so.
She's going to make me cry on my first podcast. This is so lovely. Look, oh my goodness. Succeed, self-mastery.
Right.
And it has my name on. Oh, Sophia.
So that's for you. And it has the 7 pillars that we practice as a part of our lifestyle. So succeed is actually an acronym.
Okay.
So each letter stands for the practice that we are aspiring to, that we're incorporating in our life. So you will see it all listed for you, from starting with surrounding ourselves with the right people, understanding ourselves, cultivating our curiosity, and so on. So that is the space that I live in, and what I work with people to do, to be able to live in that space, and the tools to really make it a lifestyle. It's not a one of. It is not an event. It is not I am passing through and trying a thing. This is what I aspire to. So it will not be perfection, although we're aiming for that. We're aiming to be our best selves. Not copying someone else, but being true to us. And so I work with people to create the blueprint for their lives. As defined by them. And we go through each step, and there are tools that we provide. One of the tools being the talk beverage, and we've got the sachets as well, the hot teas. We've got the fashion where we've got the earrings, you know, the self-belief. It's about really immersing yourself in that. So
and emanating,
exactly. And so it's providing the tools to be able to make it natural, make it easy. You're going to have a cup of tea today. Here's a positive message. Here's an affirmation. Here's an opportunity to reflect. We're going to be having conversations. Let's practice that with some critical thinking, right? It's not just about talking, but it's about how we talk, when we talk, knowing the timing. So it's learning the conversation skills and mastering them. The self-talk, so the first and foremost, conversation with self, and then the tools to have the conversations with others, and what that will look like. Because we take it for granted.
We do.
That we just kind of talk, but there's an art to that conversation. There's so much that's happening. And that was evident when we had COVID. And so we weren't able to do it. And for young people who didn't get to do it much and they were on a screen, we're realizing, wait a minute, I took it for granted that you just kind of talk, but no, we were practicing it. There were skills that we were learning. Body language. When I do this, even if my lips are saying that, you kind of look at me and you're kind of going, no, that's not quite true. When we don't have those things in place, what happens? And so for me, it's about being very deliberate. And saying, how am I showing up in conversations with myself, but also with the others in my life at work? My family members, my friends, the person in the grocery store. How do I express me? How do I respond to what I feel they're expressing? So the space that I live in and work in is the self-master piece, for us to be our best selves, peak performance. The TIFIDIN part is actually what you call cognitive behavior therapy. But instead of putting any kind of label, it's just TIFIDIN. Our thoughts will influence what we feel. What we feel is certainly going to determine what it is that we do in response. And what we do every day culminates into our life. That's it. That's the legacy. So TIFIDIN, the think it, feel it, do it now, is the mental health piece of what we do, and making sure we're deliberate about the thoughts. What's coming in? What are we going to block? There's just some things that's like, no, you're not coming here. Or if you come in, I am going to hear what you have to say, pay attention, and decide what to do with you in a way that's going to be healthy for me. So what I do with TIFIDIN, helping people to think it, feel it, do it now in a way that's healthy, and practicing wellness for themselves, which will then impact their relationships.
Yes.
And because it doesn't stay here, right?
Yes.
It
comes out.
It
Yes,
comes
I
out.
understand.
So
you emanate it.
We emanate it. So providing the tools, the journals, all of the lifestyle things that we will need in order to be our best selves.
That's amazing. And I like how you've made it so practical to use, like the drink, and then even the acronym, the succeed, like just looking at the word and what you've written here. I mean, I can start applying that like at this moment. And it aligns with what I'm always saying about the fact that we are all so powerful. We have the power to create the experiences, to have the thoughts, to make the choices that we want, to empower ourselves and create the lives that we want. And you've now done this in a way where it practically makes so much sense, and it's wonderful. So you had told me too, Sophia, that you were one of the original founders of Tropicana.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because I did a co-op there way back in the day when my boy was little. So when you said that was another relatable thread. Yes.
So,
and I want to come back to this.
Yes. No, I came up from Jamaica with Mama, my grandmother. I was a month shy of being a teenager. Okay. And came up to meet with my mom, and she had remarried, so a stepdad. And my brother, who would have been 2. So a part of that, when you talk about stories, the separation, reunification bit. My mom had left when I was about 4. And so I'm seeing her again for the first time. Oh, wow. When I'm almost a teenager. So she left a little girl. And, I stepped off the plane and I'm, 5'8" and a half. Yes. Grown, and with Mama. And Tropicana got started with Robert Brown because coming to Canada at that time, so this was in the 70s, 1976. Okay. Entering into a space where you're literally a minority at that time, in numbers, we were a minority, and being in spaces where there were assumptions made about who we were as a people. Okay. And there were a lot of just the systemic issues. So, I came up and I'm supposed to be based on my age. Yes. In grade 7, and they wanted to put me back a grade. It's like, why would that be happening? Okay. Well, you're from Jamaica. Okay, I'm not getting the connection between my being from Jamaica and the grade you're putting me in. Yes. Right? And the assumption that I should be a grade behind and not a grade ahead. So you got the very early starts of understanding you're not being seen for who you are. You're being seen based on the prejudices, the prejudgments about who and what you're supposed to be. And so in starting school here and having the personality and the family that I had, I was able to push back and fight my battles in a way that enriched me. But I also saw that some people got broken, depending, when you're a child, depending on the support system that you have. You don't necessarily have what you need to push back and say, this is not me and you don't define me in that way. So I met Robert Brown, amazing person, and we were talking about what can be done. And for me, I do believe in be a part of the solution. Do what you can.
Love that,
Be
Sophia.
a part of the solution.
Love that.
Right? And it comes back again to just words with Mama, saying for everything, the messages, the parables. Yes. And so what would the solution be? So for me, personally, I did things like every assignment, it was an opportunity to educate. So we're doing something, the project, you're going to be learning about Jamaica, you're going to be learning about Black people, I'm teaching. Yes. Right? Yes. So that was one way I could use my power to say, instead of getting angry or doing the name calling, I will uplift you because I just assume this is based on your ignorance. So I will do what I can to educate you. So whether it was as simple as people having, to me, the unmitigated gall to tell me how I should say my name. I'd say my name is Sophia. And they go, Sophia. And Sophia, and I'd spell it for them. And then they would say something like, oh, you mean Sophia, like Sophia Loren.
Oh, I understand.
Like, no, I don't mean Sophia. That's her name, Sophia Loren. I mean Sophia, as in long O sound with a vowel followed by the consonant, which makes it a long O. Right? But it was basically being able to do that, to say, you don't rename me, and I'm not going to change my name so it's simpler for you. Yes. To say, which many of us, we do. That whole piece of wanting to belong, wanting to fit in. So Tropicana was a part of that solution? What can we do to give support
Okay.
to members of the Caribbean community, in particular newcomers,
Okay.
and in working with the system
Okay.
to help us get our footing, to help us to be able to take our rightful place in this society, in our new home. And while doing that, also educating others
I understand.
about
Okay.
who we are and setting the standards and the boundaries for how we will be treated, what we will accept and what we will not. So Tropicana is about delivering programs to the Black and Caribbean community, working with parents, key, right, in order to access resources. And so we started that. My mom, my dad, very, very supportive. I was in the executive role where we started out, and then just started doing the programs from there. So I did the counseling program. It's one of the people who developed that and did things around and talking about the kind of programs we would offer. Being willing to do things like incest survivors, right? Talking about difficult conversations.
Yes, that
right?
was one of the things I mentioned. Yes, okay, sorry.
No,
That's
please,
wonderful.
Please.
No, I think that's when we first spoke and we started talking and you were sharing with me what you were doing. I was like, I've never heard of anybody that has been an advocate in wanting to bring healing to people from the other perspective of the person who's doing the or creating the trauma is what I'm going to say.
Well, it's true, right? Because you get into this. So whether we're doing incest survival and looking at what's needed and the pushback with that as well, when people were saying, I was a founder, then I went, and when I left university, I started the counseling program. They became one of the first people to do that. And covering things like incest, and some would be like, incest? It's like, yes, no, it happens.
It does.
It is not a cultural thing that's exclusive to any one culture. It happens globally, and here is the reality of that. And offering the program to offer support around that. Violence against women and violence against men, which was huge because one of the first experiences I had working with a collective, that was an interesting experience. I was the first Black person to work there. So Women's Counseling Referral and Education Center. And they were wanting to diversify and to, do well. And we were counseling women. And a man had called in, women who were victims. A man called in and wanted to get some help. And so I was talking with him and thinking where you could go, resources are available. And they were very upset that I was doing this because we're here for the woman. So you give them support, and for me, I couldn't understand the separation. It's like, well, if we're not working as well, or at least willing to, we don't have to work with them, but at least open to making sure the perpetrators of it can get what they need so that they stop doing it. If we're just focused on the woman, then there's a revolving door, and that person continues. They go on to do the same thing to someone else, but it was the politics of it. So bringing us to now Tropicana, when I was looking at the programming that we need, for me, the trauma is a trauma. Abuse is abuse, and it happens across the board. In doing a program for men who are being abused, because it is a power relationship, and by far it's predominantly women who are on the receiving end. Absolutely. It doesn't mean that there weren't also men.
I agree.
Who were in abusive relationships. So whether it's I'm going to hold on to your passport so you're not getting that because I brought you into this country and here's what it's going to look like. Or I'm going to slap you. When you say, I didn't like it, and that is also abuse. The person on the receiving end is not who defines it in terms of, well, I'm a woman, so it must be abuse. If it's the man, then it's not.
That's right.
The behavior
is the behavior. You're absolutely
abusive.
right.
So that has to be addressed as well. And so I'm not going to now do the same thing I'm against, where I am going to be prejudiced against you or discriminate. You're the wrong gender, so too bad you weren't, it's going, no, we're going to deal with the issue as it is.
Exactly.
Right? So at Tropicana, we had the opportunity to do the programming. And I appreciate that, right? To meet our community where our community was at the time. They're still doing fantastic work, you know, because they're now the largest, you know, Black serving organization in Canada.
Yes, that's phenomenal.
But it was a fantastic experience because as a child, right? And I was around mentors and trailblazers doing, you know, and so to be privileged to be in that place where as I am honing my own skills, I'm being poured into by my elders. And I do firmly believe, I say it all the time, you're never too old to learn and you're never too young to teach. And the fact that I was in a position
that's wonderful
where I was able to also teach and not be dismissed because of my inexperience in terms of years in this world. There were people who were willing to hear and just receive content, but I was also able to learn from being in a space and watching the people who do this work, because this work has been going on forever. You know, out
That's
advocating, fighting, you know, the Dudley laws, you know, and being at their, you know, side, being at their feet, being, you know, wherever I'd be at any given moment, being at Tropicana and being on that journey. It was just an amazing thing. But started with be a part of a solution.
That is
what can you do?
That is outstanding. You're a pioneer.
Oh,
I think you are. I think it's wonderful. I think that's so wonderful. I have to share that with my dad because he was affiliated with Tropicana. But that's amazing. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Sophia. Did you actually counsel men that had performed incest? I'm going to say incest.
So, and this is.
I just wanted to get a little bit from that perspective.
This is
because it's intriguing me.
Yes, and I did. I actually did. I did both sides. I did, and just so we know, one of the people that I was counseling wasn't a man.
Okay.
So just right?
I understand.
And this is where, so although we have things that happen predominantly this way, it doesn't mean that it's exclusively that way.
Yeah.
So there.
Wow.
Yes. So yes, I have.
Okay.
And
was that individual or any of the individuals also survivors of incest themselves?
They were.
Okay.
And
that makes a little bit more sense to me, but I know it's a topic within itself.
Yeah. Because you go there.
Yeah.
You go there and trying to, and this is the judgmental part.
Yes.
And the trying to understand, and when did this start, and understanding that people don't just arrive at a place. They go on a journey to get there.
That's right.
Right? They go on, and I always like to say, what now? So we know what now. And in dealing with, because the two people, and there were two people, two men, one woman, that I was counseling, they didn't come to me to get counseling for that reason.
Okay.
We got there as there were other issues in their lives that they were dealing with. And then this came out. So it became, so you did, so you yourself were engaging in this behavior. Okay. So it wasn't from, this is burnt and I'm going to come. It was stuff being played out because they were not well, right? And they hadn't been well for a very long time. So in just talking about where they're coming from and childhood and so on, and then how things play out.
Understood.
We get to this place.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And that is the thing, because what does incest look like? What for the perpetrator? What do they look like? They look like you and me and our fathers and brothers and cousins,
uncles, and,
right?
Yes.
What does somebody who's abusing their partner look like?
Yeah.
Same thing. They don't have a look.
No.
And as a matter of fact, oftentimes we would be surprised.
Yeah.
Right? We would be surprised. We'd be like, You're kidding.
Yes,
Really?
yes,
Which is a
yes.
part of it because we wear masks.
Yes.
We
yes.
mask very
Oh, my
well,
goodness, we
right?
do. We
and
do.
mask is necessary for our own preservation.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
We need to do it, but it's about like anything else, how we wear it for how long, when,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Does it get abused? Is it now? We get into all of that.
The
So yes,
intention, yeah.
so I have, yes, men and women, and I also, yeah, a pedophile.
Oh, wow,
Yes.
Sophia.
Yes. And what was, these are people from our community again because we were serving the Black community. So a
Yes.
lot of things were, as a community, we don't do those things or not, and we're not,
course.
because we now have put a color on crime. Others have put a color on crime for us, but we ourselves are socialized in the same community and society. And so for us, we kind of think, no, we don't. It's like, oh, yes, we do. We're human beings and we're subject to the same
Yes.
frailties, the same malaise, right? As
Yes.
any other human being, depending on our personal conditions, right? And so, yes, so pedophile. And that one, I remember because that person, of course, needed help that I couldn't give them.
Yes.
But that was interesting for me because this was happening when my children were young. And I remember the conversation and when this was, and I was kind of like, okay, and describing what was happening. And I had to know my own
boy.
boundaries.
Yes.
And for me, it was, okay, so I'm in a place to do this in a way that's going to help
yes.
you.
Yes.
And of course, we also had to, there are legal issues as well. There are all kinds of things
Oh, yeah.
that would be coming into play where
Yeah.
this needs to go someplace else. But I remember just the emotion of it. And again, looking at this person who was a young person, like they were in their teens,
Oh, wow.
right? So you get to learn to, a few things. Be careful with the assumptions.
Yeah. I was
Be
just gonna say
careful with
that.
the
Yeah,
assumptions.
Yeah.
But also with the judgment. Because we need to be able to hear, give people space to speak, and to be able to understand. Not to accept. I'm not saying because I'm hearing it, I'm accepting the behavior.
Yeah.
But to be able to understand,
Yeah.
to give compassion, because you too are someone's child.
Yeah.
You too went on your journey. And if I can understand, how do you get to this place? Talk to me about that.
Yes.
Then it serves me well in my life
Understood.
as well. Because for each and every person who had the privilege or still have the privilege of them telling their story, I have been made richer because of it. I have been made richer. That's a gift to me.
Yeah.
So the lessons that I learned from being at Tropicana, where much of this journey started in terms of working with people, I am grateful for, because the race part of it and stripping away the, well, only these people and only, is, I got to shed that very, very early, because I was looking and understanding how trauma goes on and the generations. When I am hurt and I am interacting with someone else, how my hurt gets transferred onto, especially if they're people that I have power over or influence over, if they're my children.
I was about to say that,
right?
Especially our children.
It gets passed on for generations.
Yes.
So, Tropicana and the stories, I was privileged to hear, whether it's those who, parents beating their kids, to the point where the stamp from the buckle, is on the, and that's our parents doing. Parents who love us dearly, and they're beating us, as they would say, for our own good.
Yes.
Bring me the belt so I can beat you. That kind of stuff where it, and we can go back to the day for where that's coming from, but where it gets passed on. And to have a parent sharing they're wanting to help their child in the frustration and telling you the tools that they have used to do that, one of them being a good beating. And you're here to work with that person. And you're also here for that child to stop what you're understanding, right, is happening.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Right? So I know you need to heal, but in the process of you on your journey to heal, you're doing some serious damage to those in your path. And what about that child? Because you were once there, right?
Yes.
So had someone been there for you, you know, when you were a child, to kind of stop it, what you're passing on now wouldn't be there. And to know that they want to be better. We want to be better. So we can sit there and judge and talk about, oh, then they were wicked and they did the... Or we can stop and listen and say, talk to me. Talk to me. What is it that you want to do? Well, I want them to stop being, and they must have manners. And listen, they're in this country. They have to make something of their lives. They brought them here so they can be better. And so they're trying to help them be better. Right? So if we can have the conversation to say, okay, give me some more, and work with that. So then can we come up with a different way of doing? Because we do a lot of don't do this, don't do that. We don't do a lot of, but here's what we can do. So if I take away what you're using as your tool, which happens to be a weapon, right? If I take that away from you, what do you have? And when you're looking at that relationship in the power dynamic, I'm supposed to be here teaching you, telling you, and this is what I feel is a tool to do that. When you tell me not to do that and you take that away and put nothing in place, what do I do with my child when they don't listen? When I see them going down the wrong path?
That's right.
When they've got the wrong friend? When they're not? What do I do? So a lot of times we do the judgment piece, and we're good at telling you what not to do, but we're not as good at telling you, well, here's what you can do. Tell me what I'm supposed to do that will give me the end result that I believe a good whooping will give them. If you're going to tell me no, and I'm seeing it work because at least, well, they stopped. You're not really thinking 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what those beatings will mean for them. For now, I just know in the power dynamics of this relationship, they stopped.
Wow.
Right? So it's working. So when you're going to criticize me and tell me not to do it, and I love them and I know where they're headed, you tell me, what are you going to do? And so you see the layers of it, because
oh my goodness,
you know,
like
what gets taken away, the person is now, and this one is in this home and that one, right? So what are the tools? And it starts with the conversation. It starts with the conversation.
You, my dear, I'm like blown away by everything you've said. I didn't want to interrupt you because I wanted the viewers to hear what you said, because you are so powerful, Sophia, and you are chosen. I believe you are chosen because I believe this world is going through the shift. There's so many things that are being unveiled. There's so many things that are, you know, we need to heal. We need to, and that's why I was saying before we started the podcast, it's a blessing to be alive at this time of life. It really is. And even the ancestries of your grandmother, of my mother, they brought it, but, you know, maybe they weren't at the place where they could amplify their message or even had their own tools, because I know my mommy didn't. She loved everybody, but she didn't love herself in so many ways, and I look back on it. But I'm so grateful I chose her as my mother, because I believe we choose our parents. So I'm so grateful that you're here today. I really hope that whoever is watching this podcast, that it helps them. It brings a level of, I don't even know, grace, and maybe a spark of, maybe I need to have this conversation. If they are in that position, maybe I need to reach out for help, you know, and maybe we can put that in the caption in some of the comments, or even in the caption of the podcast about where we can find resources to help other individuals, if that sparked that interest within somebody today, because just some of the examples that you gave, I'm thinking about not only my life and what I grew up with my family and my parents, because they were Trinidadian, of course, Trinidadian parents, West Indian background. So we won't get into my conditioning, but just some of the examples. I remember going to school and I was in gym class, just real quick, and it was one of my friends. She was getting ready for gym. We were getting ready, I think, to go swimming, and she took off her shirt, and all the back of her back was bruised. And I said, what happened to you? I remember this vividly as you were talking. And she said, oh, my father beat me last night, Leslie, because I was on the phone till 9 with my new guy boyfriend. And it's okay, Les. I said, are you kidding me right now? Okay. We need to go to the principal. And she was shaking in her boots because she didn't want me to see the bruises, nor did she want me to go upstairs. But I felt so bad. And she begged me. She even came and found me after class. And she said, please, Les, don't say anything because my father might beat me again. And, it's just like... And I felt helpless. What could I do? You know what I mean? But it's.
And that's the thing, because when we talk about the tools that get weaponized, right? The words that get weaponized, where I'm going to now curse you out or tell you. And we learn to live in shame, and we learn to be private. Don't tell people our business.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Don't tell people our business.
Gosh.
Right? That's wrapped up. So we learn the messaging of, as women, be strong.
Yes.
And what we've equated with strength is bearing the burden alone.
Yeah.
The secrecy.
Yeah.
So I am not going to ask for help because that's a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
And if I tell my story, it's also betrayal, because in telling my story, I am going to be telling other people's stories as I see it. If I'm going to talk about my childhood and how I was disciplined, well, it's going to involve the people that were disciplining me. So what's wrapped up in that is a sense of, I can't let other people down.
Yes.
I can't embarrass the family.
That's
right.
Another
the
one.
Embarrassment is a huge deal. Right. And so we carry this in the name of being strong, and you just kind of plow on, and heaven forbid you should cry, right? Because that's a whole other thing. We're taking pride in, she held up really well at the funeral. She didn't cry. She didn't. Yes. Oh, yes, I'm strong. These messages that we have to unlearn, that we have to push back on, because they're not true. It is not true that crying is
Sophia.
weak. It's not true. It's not true.
I used to get, you're crying? True. You want something to cry for?
Right? Further beating.
All the time.
And when you stop and you think about that, so even the natural expression of, if we're happy and we laugh, you're in pain and you cry, and someone is going to be telling you, while you're in pain, not to express it. Or they will give you more pain. When you think about,
oh my goodness,
what that says,
oh, Sophia,
and what we do with it when we swallow that, because we obey, and we will suck it up, and we're not going to cry.
Yep.
Imagine where that goes.
Oh,
because you might not be exploding, but you're certainly imploding.
Amen.
You're certainly imploding.
Amen.
And then when we collapse on the inside,
oh my girl,
and it comes out in different ways, because we are going to have that come out
catastrophically.
So it oozes, right? It oozes, like, when you have that bruise, and it comes
and
out,
it pusses up and ting. Oh,
what does oozing look like?
Yes.
It oftentimes looks like abuse to others, because when we're in a position of power, we then abuse the ones that we can.
That's right.
That's what we're setting out to do.
That's right.
But I'm in pain.
Yes.
I need this to go somewhere.
That's
right.
Oh man.
And it's going to go somewhere. So whether I turn out to be the person that's passive aggressive, where I'm telling you, oh yes, no, Leslie, that's fine. But then I'm going to sabotage you because it's not fine.
That's right.
I didn't want to be doing it. That's one way.
Yes.
That it can play itself out.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
The other way could just be in me being the people pleaser.
Yeah.
Where my sense of self resides in making sure you're okay. Forget me.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it looks like for me. Right? I am going to please.
Yes.
Right? I don't want conflict. I don't want you to get upset.
Yes.
Because I know what upset means. I used to get the whooping for the upset.
Yes.
If you're not, right? So I learned to do it really well, where I am going to make sure you are happy. What do you need? So now I have no boundaries. Right?
Yes.
There's no sense of, you can, whatever you need, whenever you need it. You want it now? Okay, I'm going to do it now. Right?
Yes.
So I was busy. I wanted to do this thing for myself. But no, you want. And so whether if you're my child, you're my partner, sense of self, no, that's lost somewhere, because it's all about you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that comes from those early messages.
Wow.
Right? That's where that's coming from.
You have just healed me having this conversation. No, there were so many things that were popping up inside of me as you were talking, and just even little memories from my childhood. I mean, I'm elated. I am just elated. I'm so happy that we've had this conversation. We have not poured our talk beverage, and we've been talking about so many other things. I can see my producer in the background going, "Okay, girls, you want to have a drink?" So we're gonna take a drink, just to experience this, and
let's pour.
Let's pour.
Let's pour.
Let's
okay.
pour.
So,
are we pouring? Okay.
Pour. Okay.
I'm going to let Sophia pour because even
can we just
okay. I'm so excited.
So
and I haven't had this I want to talk to you about this for my workshop, but we'll talk about that after. Yes, for my young children that I.
So
okay,
all natural, of course.
All natural.
Right? So we've got a bit of rose hip, we got the apples, we got the oranges, we got the whole right, and then we use some cane sugar, so it's all natural.
Okay.
So we got that, and so
all
we're
right.
gonna just pour.
Amen. Ooh, nice. Lovely.
And I'm gonna pour.
So it's literally for 2 nice glasses.
So it goes through, right? So we've got our message inside.
Okay.
So this is a conversation prompt.
Okay.
So we can actually read. So
Okay.
what it says on the inside. So this one says, "I am only responsible for what I say, not for what you hear." Is that statement true? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And why? So there is no right or wrong.
Okay.
There is no right or wrong. So just whatever comes to mind for you first, just let me know. Just let me know. Bring it back in.
Okay.
So let me explain.
Okay.
Right. So just a bit in here. Okay. I'm actually going to want you to pour a bit of it. So pour yours.
Okay.
And because I want us to see both conversation topics. Okay. So just pour into yours. Fill it up. A bit more. Could pour some more into mine. I want us to get to the message in that because I want to give you the choice.
Okay.
Of what you're going to be responding to.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Okay.
So we've got a single serve in each bottle for the reflection. So tell me what yours says.
Oh my goodness, you're gonna have to read it because these are my distance
Listen,
glasses,
no,
not my reading ones. Sorry.
No, please.
No, sorry,
no,
but
no, yeah, no.
I'm in a eyesight cul-de-sac
so,
right
so let us there's some we need to do this. There are others because I'm good with
my
the
father,
close,
you'd be like this.
I'm good with the close-up, not the far, so we make a good pair.
There we go.
Anything
Okay.
far away, you take it. Anything close, I'll take it. We're good?
That's
we're good.
Vibes.
Okay,
all
we're
right,
good. So this one says, "Don't look where you fell, look where you slipped." So don't look where you fell, look where you slipped. And that's an African proverb. So let's just rest this here. So we have the two. Okay. Don't look where you fell.
Look where you slipped.
Look where you slipped.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have, so that's great for self-reflection. So these smaller bottles, we do the self-reflection. What that statement means to you. Again, there's no right or wrong. Just what comes to mind when you hear it, whether it's confusion or what the heck or whatever. And then the other one is, I'm only responsible for what I say, not for what you hear. That's an elevated conversation topic right there. So do you want to tackle either of them, or do you want it to just be, let me think on that and we'll circle back some other time? And I can tell you also what they mean to me.
Wow. When it comes to the statement about I'm only responsible for what I say, but not what I hear.
What you hear.
What comes to me, one of the first things that came to me was being a mother, my son. My son and I went through a bit of a, I guess we'll say, impasse in our relationship over the past year and a bit. And when we did come together finally and have our conversation, because there was a time apart where I'll be completely transparent, he was angry at me. Because there were things that in his life that were not coming to pass the way he wanted it to be, the way he was seeing himself. Yes. I'll say that. And it got to a point where he said to me, "I'm angry at you, Mom, and I don't want to talk to you." So we didn't talk for probably about 3 months. It was the hardest 3 months of my life because I was going through guilt and feeling, sad about so many different things. A few things that he had opened up to me about, but I didn't really know what was going on in the depth of his truth because he wouldn't really talk to me. He was angry. So when we did finally come together to talk, it was Christmas Eve, and we sat down, him and I, one-on-one, and I let him talk. And as he spoke, the emotion that came out of me was just, I felt horribly. And he was my son is very, I will say, he's very emotionally intelligent in certain ways. And I think that's just I think it's natural for him in certain ways, but through his own conditioning and what he's learned through his life, he did not grow up with his father fully. His father came into his life in his teen years. So I say that to say there are things that I know that his father and I, especially myself, because I was the one that raised him, and my family, that we fell short on in certain ways. And because also I had him at 19, I was 18. My mother was, not there in my formative years. I grew with my father mostly and my stepmother. So there were a lot of things that just were not falling into, I didn't love myself. I didn't know who I was. So I say that to say in our conversation, the things that I said were definitely, I own them, and I took accountability for certain things that he said about how he felt about what I did when I raised him and certain choices that I made and what have you. But I do believe that his words were also something that I needed to receive because it also helped me to understand myself, understand maybe to speak to the other bottle about where I kind of slipped, being aware of that and how I spoke to him and how I acknowledged him, and I know that I'm not responsible for my son's feelings. And he did say to me at the beginning of the conversation, Mom, this is not to hurt you, because he went for counseling on his own. And I applauded him for that.
Yes.
I said, wow, son, the fact that you took that, he said, I needed to, Mom, because I had to find myself. And he asked me to go to counseling with him.
Oh my goodness.
He did. We've not done the session together yet, to be honest with you, but we will get there. But I think it was because he wanted me to help to understand what he was trying to say and how he was feeling at certain situations in his growth. So I think in certain situations and in certain arenas, I think it is important to be aware of what the person has said. And I think for me in that situation, because it was my child, he is my child, I felt responsible for some of the things he said because I think his feelings were a residual of my lack in certain ways or my lack of attention into what he was feeling at those certain times. So
wow,
that's my feedback on that. I don't know.
Yes. No, and that's the thing.
That's what resonates for me.
Yes, there is no right or wrong or this is what it's supposed to be. The amazing thing about words, I could read that to 10 people and each person
receives it differently.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's like art, right?
Yes.
It's like art.
Yes.
Words are art, right? That's on our canvas. So you are going to interpret based on your lived experiences.
That's right.
Right? So I just want to say, just a couple of things. First of all, yay him for going for counseling, especially again in our community, and the way that we perceive going for help or telling people our business.
That's right.
To take a step to say, I am going to go and do this. But just that journey for self-awareness and for you, Mom, to sit and to hear.
Yeah. And it was
hold
hard,
that.
Sophia.
Oh, I could only imagine.
One of the hardest things.
Oh my gosh. To hold that space for him to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
I can only imagine because to go there.
It is.
To go there. And I mean, it's a natural thing when we're talking or someone is expressing for us to want to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
Or explain.
Yeah.
You start, but no, but I want to correct.
Yes.
Right? No, but that's not what, to be able to kind of just sit.
And listen.
And to just go, okay, and not come up with the but.
Yep.
Right? And especially when it's someone we love.
Oh.
There is just the hearing their hurt or pain.
Yes.
Added to that, the fact that they feel that we have contributed to that when that's the last thing
that
we would ever want to do. But then again, we also know the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
As they say. So the intention doesn't necessarily mean that the results are going to be, reflecting
That's right.
what we want. So I want to just say to you, and that journey, because it will be an ongoing journey.
Yes, it will be.
You know, the courage to have had that conversation, to open that up, to start that.
Truly.
That's a yay you moment and a yay him moment. So you got to be able to say yay me because, hey, that's yay me.
Oh my.
You did it. So, you know, the whole idea, like when I think of I am only responsible for what I say, not for what you hear, what speaks to me with that is when we're communicating, it's about the giver and the receiver.
Okay.
And there are times when I'll say, listen, you want to hear that, you can go and hear that. That's not what I meant, so it's on you.
Got you.
Where is that line where I say, well, it's not up to me to have you understand it?
Got you. Yep,
right?
Yep.
You've got to take ownership for that. Or is it that it's on me to find the way to communicate so you can hear it?
Me. Understood. Yeah.
That's the other part of this as well, right? And there, depending on the place that we land with what our responsibility is, it will speak to how far into the conversation we go. Because if I've said my piece and I feel I've said it well, I feel we're speaking the same language, so to speak, and you're still over here, well, then they're not getting it. I could just check out and go, you know what? I'm done. I said it.
Yes.
If you want to read something else into it, that's on you, and I'm gone. Or if I'm coming from a place of, okay, how do I word this differently?
Yes.
And I'm in this to find the way to get there.
Got you.
For you to understand, I am going to approach it differently.
Gotcha.
I will check out much later. If I'm going to be checking out at all, it might be, okay, I need to take some time. Let's revisit.
Yes.
But the mindset that we go in with, the value around communication when we're having the talk, what our responsibility is in terms of delivering the message, the value that we come to that with, where it's my responsibility to speak to you in a way that you're going to be engaged, you're going to understand, I am going to speak to you very differently than if I feel I'm just here to get what I have to get off my chest.
Yeah, I get it.
I've done it. Okay, then.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it may be that we change it up depending on circumstances and who we're with.
You're dealing with. Yeah.
But what I would like for us to think about is, where do we land with that?
Yeah.
How are we having our conversations? How are we doing the talk?
Yes.
Are we doing the talk from a place where I really need to try and dig deep to get you to understand? So from the tone of my voice, the timing. You know, just because I'm ready to talk doesn't mean you're ready. You know, so if I am feeling that it's my responsibility to make sure you're understanding what I'm saying, then I will make sure I'm putting thought into lining up.
Yes, you're more mindful. I understand exactly what you're saying. Yes.
So just a thing to think about. And there are times when it's going to be, no, I'm done.
Yeah,
because
no, you're very right. You are very right, my love.
I could say this.
I just had one of those conversations.
You know, it's like, okay, I'm out. Okay.
Yeah.
But be mindful.
Be mindful
of it to make sure I am particularly interested in us not throwing in a towel too soon or getting upset because you don't get it, and so they're both. But let's just be really mindful.
Yes.
Of don't throw it in.
Yeah.
And just kind of work it another way. Be the pretzel.
Yes.
I'm gonna bend it. Okay, let me bend it this way. Let me come at it from here. Let me because style matters.
Yes.
So perhaps I need to do some drawing as we're talking, or another analogy, or bring in a because we learn differently. We hear
we do
differently.
We do.
So that's just that. But that's a talk.
That's wonderful.
That's a talk.
What a great. Both examples were wonderful. I love this. I love it. I love it.
That's a talk.
Oh my goodness. I'm so happy. Talk about Leslie in her happy place. Anyways. Okay. Well, this has been. We didn't even have. Let's just partake a little bit of the drink. I have to have a little taste.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go first. Actually, yeah.
Well, we have to cheers.
So we're gonna cheer. You're right. Let's see me doing the gymnastics around the microphone.
Okay, we're learning.
I think we're being really good with just not.
That's okay. Plain talk, no manners. That's okay.
Listen. Look at us being the pros with the microphone.
That's how it just go. That's right. So cheers.
So cheers to
I'll let
all of life's riches that you embody, and to your sharing that with the world.
Thank you. Cheers. Cheers. Oh my, Sophia. I should be saying the Sophia. Sorry, my apologies.
Now there's going to be a whole thing about my name.
It's lovely. It reminds me of sorrel.
Okay.
It does remind me of sorrel.
There you go. Because hibiscus.
Yes.
It's a cousin.
It's
right?
a cousin of
it's
the, yes, cousin. It is.
So
yes.
it makes a lot of sense that it would remind us. Right? So that's it with all its goodness.
Oh, it's lovely. Just lovely. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for bringing that.
You are very, very welcome.
I love it. I will be partaking in some of this at Christmas for sure. I'm bringing some for my cousins.
And put it on
absolutely.
Ice. Oh,
yes.
Chilled. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Just lovely. And you're right. It's so good. And it's good for your skin too. Hibiscus.
Hibiscus is good for your skin.
It's very good for your skin.
And that's the thing that I love about it, because it's nature, right? And we know nature has provided us.
Oh my goodness.
With all that we need.
It's true.
We may not understand which thing we need for what.
Yes.
But it's out there, just waiting to be found. So for me,
I agree 100%.
When we're taking all of that in, and we know it's just good for the body, and it's good for the mind because we've got the words.
That's
and then
right.
when we can do it with another, bonus, right?
Bonus.
Do it for self, but also do it for others. So
absolutely.
Cheers.
That's
so
lovely. Thank you so much.
Here, you are very welcome.
Well, this has been amazing. Like you have christened the couch.
What a privilege.
And I hope I have you back again, Sophia.
You.
This was just lovely.
You.
Everything that you shared. Oh my goodness. And the energy was completely organic and a place of grace and space and just authentic, real conversation. I'm so elated. And God is so good. And thank you for being here.
Thank you for the privilege of being here. You never have a second first.
No.
So I am glad to have been a part
and
of
thank you
this.
for my beautiful gift.
You are very welcome.
I was going to ask you about this. You
we
know
will
what?
Chat
we have to chat more because
this,
I do a workshop, my Voice for the Soul workshop. I bring journals in for my my students because I do it for youth, for young women and what have you, the workshops that I've facilitated so far. And I'm actually going to be facilitating one in the Halton region for it's called a Black Symposium for about 250 Black students that'll be going into high school. So their particular symposium is about self-empowerment. So they just called me. I had a meeting with the two beautiful ladies, and they said, Leslie, we'd love for you to facilitate your workshop.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
You moment.
Yes,
yes. Wow.
And really, it's just to engage, youth into having conversations about self-love and self-empowerment and, limiting beliefs and, talking about world conditioning and all of that sort of thing. We do a meditation and I give them a journal because I really want them to start off the phone a little bit and journaling from within. And I give them a few different pieces. So I would love to talk to you about creating something customized. Because it's going to be about 44 students, Sophia, that I need to bring something for. So I think you and I can partner with that.
Do that. We've
that
got
would be lovely.
Journals that we can customize with names and your words. And yes, we can definitely make that happen.
And do you have social media handles that we can... or anything that people would want to reach you?
Yes. So I am on Instagram.
Okay.
And not as active as I need to be.
Okay,
and that will be changing because we're doing in the new year when we launch.
Okay.
Self-mastery. But yes, so I can be found on Instagram at Sophia Bishop. I am also on TikTok and I'm on YouTube.
Excellent. Okay, wonderful.
So look forward to seeing and hearing from others. And
that's right.
Absolutely.
And I'll put all your information in the comments or in the description of the podcast so people know how to reach you.
I am so proud of you in doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you. The fact that you're reaching young people.
Yes.
Not to say, reaching adults and helping us to heal and so on isn't also very important, but to be able to get them when they're young.
Yeah.
And to pour into them.
Yes.
So that the self-love will be there and they can truly come into their own being, all that they can be and know their purpose.
That's
the fact that you're going to be playing that role in their lives, that's a gift to them. And it's a gift to society because we need our young people to be well.
I agree.
We need
100.
that, right?
And there's no emotional intelligence or any type of that energy in the schools. They've taken all of that type of extracurricular resources out. Not that I'm aware of anyways. Most of the schools that I've spoken to. It's I believe there's a need.
Skeleton. I was speaking with a couple of teenagers last week. We're talking about mental health because we're talking about them being on social media. And they said, oh, yeah, they know it's not good for me. I said, okay, so what are you learning about it?
No.
Right? So they know it's not good.
Yes.
They talk a bit about, you should try not to be on there as much. But beyond that,
exactly,
there isn't much more. What exactly do I do? I put in a new habit? That's not there. So the fact that you're in that space with them to fill that void.
Yes.
Awesome.
Amen. So and that speaks to my next program, because it is the Voice for the Soul workshop, but it's going to be catered specifically to social media.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just started building that one. So my other one's more holistic, but the social media one, it was based on a movie that I just recently watched called I can't remember the name of the movie. Oh, it's not in my head, but it's Demi Moore is in the movie, and it's about her taking a pill. So she's like a workout person or whatever. She's an advocate, you know, she does all this, and basically she goes to the doctor, and the doctor tells her about it's almost like the Matrix.
Okay.
And essentially she takes the pill to become a better version of herself. But as she borns this better version of herself, she becomes a slave to it, because it's all about the look. And it's all about mastering and taking care of, you know, the external validation and all that sort of. It's a wonderful, I can't remember the name of it right now. It's lost me, but maybe I'll put it in the comments. Yes. But I believe everybody should watch it. But from watching that movie, it inspired me to start building the program about social media.
Oh, it's so needed. And no, I'm looking forward. I am looking forward to that, because I mean, it is a drug.
It is.
Right?
It is
a drug. And I think we need to acknowledge that and treat it accordingly.
Absolutely.
Right? Because it goes back to that. It's a tool, but it's also a weapon.
That's
and
right.
And when you talk about it, when you ask about me in that space, and for the years, because I pop in, then I leave, because it's finding, how do I want to show up there, and how do I want to make sure it's a tool?
Yes.
That I am using, it's not using me. And it's not being weaponized for others.
Yes.
And respecting the fact that it was created and continues to be enhanced as a drug.
Yes.
I am not going to be arrogant enough to say, well, I can just go on and control, because no, apparently it's not that easy.
No, it isn't.
They have built it.
Oh my girl. Have
so
they ever?
That you need to get that hit.
Yep.
You need to go in and get
That's
the dopamine.
Right.
So we need to respect it when we're entering, when we're using it.
That's right.
So I am glad you're going there, because for me, it's like, okay, how do I go in armor?
Yes.
To make sure I am in control.
That's so true.
Of this, right?
You're
so when I go
right.
in, it will be on my terms. I see you. I understand how this works. I understand the rules of this game, and I need to make sure I am playing the game to win.
That's right.
For me.
That's right.
Right. So I am glad you're going there. I'll stay tuned.
Stay tuned, my girl. It's coming.
Tuned.
It's coming.
Awesome.
Well, thanks everyone who's tuned in to watch. The next episode will be coming very, very soon. Sophia's going to be a hard guest to match, but we'll find people, I'm sure. So thank you. Blessings to everyone. Stay you, be true to you, and love you always, always. Thanks. Bye.